Very good evening. Welcome back to James Well Unleashed. It's certainly unleashed tonight. And here on our prime time slot, 7 till 10, 3 hours of live TV and radio. Welcome to you. If you're easily offended, this is probably not where you should be tuned tonight. We're going to come back to the problems of Israel and Hamas later in the programme, with loads of calls coming in, and we will take a lot of the calls. But one of the other big news stories over the past couple of weeks has been this lack, or it seems to be a lack, of wishing to make illegal this gay conversion. Which I think is
therapy, they call it.
They call it conversion therapy. Well, whatever they call it, I find it really the most annoying thing that is going. And I find the people who actually want, because of their, I'm sorry, I don't like religion. It annoys me. Yeah. And you know, everybody seems
mental problems, doesn't it?
Yeah, everybody seems to be able to have a go at women on the one hand, which I think is awful, and then go on about how everybody's got to be very respectful to those people who wish to become women. Yeah. And, you know, the people who
real women lose out.
Yeah. And then we go back to this, oh, well, nobody should really be gay. And they've always got some sort of Christian or religious background to it.
It's often gay people themselves are angry because they've got some religious thing.
And don't get me going on about abortion either. Let us, looks like you've unplugged your...
I haven't.
Okay, let's talk to Kellie-Jay Keen, who is a regular here on Talk TV and radio. And she has an organisation called Standing for Women. Kellie, good evening. Welcome to the show. Are they going to ban this or not?
Oh, goodness. Wouldn't it be nice if the Conservative government were actually a Conservative government?
Well, it would, yes, you're right.
Are they going to ban it? I am not sure if they're going to ban it. They say they're going to ban it. They've been talking about it for quite some time. But I think the distinction needs to be made that this really is going to ban doctors also who have patients in front of them, particularly children, and that those doctors will try and offer something other than affirmation when a child says that they're the opposite sex. So it really is going to criminalise doctors from doing the right thing. And as far as I'm concerned, the whole sort of transgender industry is itself conversion therapy. You can turn your lesbian daughter into your straight son. And it does seem to be, when they looked at Tavistock and they interviewed the doctors there and some of the whistleblowers, one of the things they found in that many of the parents were actually deeply homophobic and just didn't want a homosexual child.
Why do you think there is still homophobia around? Are we advanced more than that, surely? Or is it still the sort of dangling? It's like the people who demonstrate outside an abortion clinic. They're telling other people what they should do with their bodies. I find horrific as well. Why in the 21st century are there still people so stupid?
Well, look, there's lots of scripture you can find in the religions that you have just expressed so much deep admiration for. But you can find homophobia sort of threaded through that. You can also find a fear of sort of homosexual culture, if there is one. And I think certainly when it comes to men, I think there probably is.
There's a stigma, isn't there? Well, it's probably the lowest it's ever been, but it's still there, isn't it?
I think some of the nicest friends I have are gay.
Yeah. Apart from that one. It's bitchy, that one.
I can't say that any of my friends are better or worse depending on who they want to sleep with. But I can say that homophobia, when it comes to converting children and changing their bodies, because you have some deep desire to shape who they can fall in love with, and whether or not that sits well with you, I think is pretty evil.
Do you think trans women are gay men, really?
No. So men that call themselves women, they are a range of things. So there will be some deeply homophobic men who can't bear the thought of being homosexuals. But I think the majority of men who claim to be women are what we call autogynephiles. That's when you're aroused by yourself as a woman.
So it's a sexual thing.
100%, yeah.
Do you think this whole business about education and everything else, and they're trying to sort of shove education into children before they are able to understand it, is something we have to actually start stopping? Because, you know, youngsters, I'm thinking of myself, I was a very young father, and probably that's not a good thing to be a father at 17, 18. I think that we actually don't realise that you don't make your mind up about who you are, what you are, until you're probably in your early 20s.
Well, that's what they say about tomboys, don't they? Because a lot of these therapists, because of their confirmation bias, they go, oh, you're not a tomboy, you're actually a trans person, aren't they? And yet a lot of tomboys turn out to be the opposite of that when they grow up, or some will be lesbians, but, you know.
Kelly?
Well, of course. I mean, look, we're all grown up. I'm probably a little older than I...
I'm very young still.
We're very immature.
I just think, what sort of country do we live in where we advise people against having tattoos until they're 18, but we say that they would know their own mind enough to decide whether or not they can be male or female? And we lie to them. I mean, we lie to them so badly that actually at the end of this lovely rainbow is actually the body of the opposite sex. They never get there. But I think when it comes to schools, look, I'm starting a political party where we've been registering since, March. And so we're waiting for our second round of registration called the Party of Women. And when we start that, I don't want to start stopping it in schools. I want it stopped dead. I want it yesterday. I don't want another pride flag.
I'm afraid.
Are you getting help from J.K. Rowling?
Because we're running out of time. I just want to ask you one other thing. You were actually had to have police protection at certain times because of the animosity towards you, a bit like J.K. Rowling, and violence towards you because of it. We're talking about a minority of a minority. How have they been given such a loud voice?
I think it's a range of things. So let me just say, every time I go out, and tomorrow I'll be at Reformers Tree with my Let Women Speak event that happens every month in London, and we also go around the country and I go around the world. I now have to have 2 close personal protection that I have to pay for just so I can actually go and speak in public, which is scandalous, and we have these incredible volunteers. But I think we've just enabled very entitled, loud people have far too much power, and our police have been captured. Our judiciary is captured. You've got something called the Equality Bench Book, which means that in a court of law, if I was going in and I've been sexually assaulted, I might have to use, although I damn well wouldn't, but I might have to use that person's preferred pronoun. So I might have to talk about somebody who sexually assaulted me as a she, her. So that's how it's happened. It's been incremental.
Can I ask you, sorry, can I ask you, if I refuse, and I do refuse to use these ridiculous terms people want, is that illegal now?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's not, but I think if Labour get in, which I think there's a good chance they will, I think they'll seek to make things like misgendering. I mean, it's called harassment in the Equality Act, which I think we also need to get rid of gender reassignment in the Equality Act. As a protected characteristic, but that sort of says, you know, harassment, and the example they give is misgendering.
All right. Kelly, thank you very much indeed. Kellie-Jay Keen, who is, of course, the founder and the boss of Standing for Women. I think it's a great organisation.
She's great, yeah, Kelly.
And can I say, if you want to be a them or whatever, don't. You're a man, you're a woman, you
them means more than one person. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's absolutely stupid.